Have you heard the slogans, "Dairy does a body good" and "Got milk"? My dear friends, this isn't science, nor is it the truth. It's marketing. It's crazy pants nonsense. Most of us grew up believing that dairy is essential to life because that's what our parents taught us, that's what the schools teach, and that is what health professionals and doctors tell us. The slogans, "Dairy does a body good" and "Got milk" are misleading marketing campaigns by the powerful and money-hungry dairy industries. They got you to believe that dairy products are essential to your health. They tell you that you need milk and cheese and dairy for protein and calcium to be healthy and have strong bones. The commercials sold us a feel-good image, but here is what they don't tell us. The health issues that dairy causes, the environment costs, the hidden heartbreaking cruelty toward helpless sentient farm animals, all the bad consequences that are built into the system, the lies and dark side of dairy that you were never meant to learn about. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. Hey, I'm Daniela, the vegan mom, and today we're going to break down the truth about dairy. We're going to talk about the health side of it, and we're going to talk about the horrific cruelty against the animals in the dairy industries. I also want to give you a solution to the dilemma and demonstrate to you why plant-based milk outshines dairy milk in every way. So let's start with the health side of dairy milk, because that alone is eye-opening. Let me ask you a question. Have you bought into the lies that dairy milk is necessary for protein and calcium? Well, FYI, rat milk contains the highest amount of protein, about 14%, as opposed to cow's milk, which contains only 3%. So why don't we drink rat milk then, if we're so concerned about our protein intake? By the way, human breast milk has only 1% protein, and for good reason, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. Would you eat some good old aged Parmesan cheese or ice cream made from human milk or rat milk? No? Why not? But more about this little annoying fact later. Back to the dairy milk. Are you aware of the fact that in order for a cow to produce milk, she has to be pregnant and she has to have recently given birth to her baby? So her body is flooded with high levels of estrogen, plus she has been given an enormous amount of growth hormones by the evil dairy farmers. And all that is going to end up in your body, which will end up in your yogurt, in your ice cream, in your cheese, in your milk. And having excess hormones in your body is not good for your body. It overworks your organs and over time will lead to serious diseases. Do you really not understand and know that cow's milk is a liquid secretion made by the mammary glands of a cow who just gave birth to her baby, and her milk is designed to help her baby calf grow. It is not meant for you or for your children to ingest. Let me reiterate, dairy is not food for humans. It is meant to grow a baby calf into a 1,200-pound cow. Drinking milk from another species is sort of like taking dangerous drugs. You can choose to ingest it for fun and recreation, but in no way can it be considered healthy or good for you. And studies have shown that people who eat dairy foods on a regular basis have higher levels of a hormone called IGF, insulin-like growth factor. And IGF is known to promote type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, and cancer. Let's dig a little deeper into this subject. A human infant doubles its size within the first 6 months of life, and that is when we need most of the nutrients. So the fastest we are growing as humans is when we are infants. So God provided mother's milk, not just for humans, but for all the animal mamas out there. Each species has a different milk, a different fat and protein content, and all protein contains casein. And the casein content is correlated to the number of days it takes to double the birth weight of the baby. So here's a chart for you. Human breast milk contains 1% protein, and human infants double their size in 180 to 200 days. Chimpanzees and gorillas, their breast milk contains 1.5%, and their babies double their size in 180 to 200 days. Horses' breast milk contains 2% protein, and horses double their size in 60 days. Cows have 3.4% protein, and cows double their size when they're babies in 50 days. Sheep have 5.5% protein in their breast milk, and the sheep babies double the size in 20 to 30 days. Dogs have 7% protein in their milk, and dogs double their sizes in 10 days. Cats have 9% protein in their breast milk, and cats double their size in 7 days. Rats contain 14% protein in their breast milk, and rats double their size in 4 days. So the moral of the story is, the slower the infant grows, the lower the protein in their mother's milk, and the faster the infant grows, the higher the protein in their mother's milk. So God gave each species their own special mother's milk, which was designed to give energy to that specific baby of a specific species, and to stimulate growth in the baby and to stimulate their immune system. And here comes the important part. All mammal protein contains casein. And studies prove that casein is highly carcinogenic. It can damage DNA, it can interfere with cell division, it can cause mutations that lead to uncontrolled cell growth. In other words, casein promotes tissue proliferation and growth. And that is not something you want to stimulate after a while, because that is what cancer does. It proliferates. That's why instinct tells mammal mothers when to wean their young. And instinct is the divine way in which all creatures are connected to the wisdom of God. In mammals, maternal instinct ensures offspring are fed, protected, and gradually weaned at the right time. Instinct isn't just biology, it is God's guidance built into life. So when a mother knows when to wean, when a bird knows when to migrate, or when a salmon returns to their birthplace to lay eggs, it is God's quiet and perfect wisdom woven into creation, guiding all living things. God created a perfect rhythm for everything. So when a dog mama, for example, weans her puppies, she might allow them to drink for another 24 hours. But after that, she must be strict and not allow them to nurse anymore. And do you remember why? Because all protein contains casein. And do you remember? Casein promotes tissue proliferation and growth. And that is not something you want after weaning. Casein is the most carcinogenic substance ever studied, and it promotes tumor growth. And that's dairy, that's milk, that's cheese. And I mentioned before, based on the growth rate of a particular species, the milk will have more or less protein in it. Humans are very slow growing, so human breast milk has the least amount of protein in it compared to the other mammal species. And moreover, the human brain is proportionally much bigger than any other species. And the human brain uses nothing but sugar for its metabolism. So God, in his infinite wisdom, put a lot of sugar into the human mother's milk. And God didn't put a lot of protein in human milk because humans are slow growing and they don't need a lot of protein. And if too much protein is given, it can stimulate tumor development and diabetes and heart disease. Cows, on the other hand, take about 3 years to mature, and they will grow into a 1,200-pound animal. So cow's milk obviously has to have more protein in it than human milk. So cow's milk and the milk of sheep and goats are not designed for you or your kids. But when you defy these natural laws, you will turn on your oncogenes, which are your cancer genes. And mothers have been told by their doctors that their kids need cow's milk to grow and to become big and strong. Oh, your little one is not a little calf trying to grow into a 1,200-pound person. Where did these doctors go to school and where did they get their training? Cows grow at a faster rate than humans, so they need more protein. And also the type of protein that is in cow's milk is very different from the type of protein that is in human milk. Cow's milk causes a number of problems in children. Cow's milk is strongly associated with the development of juvenile diabetes. The children develop allergies where they get rashes and breakouts and intestinal distress. They can develop a type of anemia which is associated with bleeding from their intestines due to an allergy to these cow milk proteins. Let me reiterate, cow's milk is not for you or your children. It's like feeding your kids a time bomb that will eventually go off and destroy their health and their lives. Also, the type of fat is different in cow's milk than the type of fat that is in human milk. Human milk has unsaturated fat, whereas cow's milk has saturated fat. Saturated fats promote hardening of the arteries, heart disease, obesity, liver issues, inflammation, which eventually leads to chronic diseases. Besides, once a human reaches adulthood, their cells should be in a quiet phase. But when you ingest dairy proteins, they stimulate those quiet cells to grow abnormally, which can cause tumor formations and the cells to become cancerous. In women, it can cause breast cancer and ovarian cancer. Women who consume the highest amount of dairy are at highest risk for hip fractures, for broken bones, for osteoporosis, because dairy actually causes you to lose calcium through your bloodstream. Eating dairy foods for nutrients is like inhaling cigarette smoke for oxygen. Beware of the lobbyists. They promote dairy, meat, candy, Snickers bars, sugar, liquor, and all kinds of products that are destructive and harmful to the human body. And let's not forget the true victims of the meat and dairy industries, the animals. Now, I'm not going to show you the gory and heartbreaking footages of the reality and what truly goes on behind those closed doors of the meat and dairy industries, because the brutalities are so severe, so demonic, so horrific, they're actually banned from public view. And most of you won't even be able to look and watch till the end because it is so brutal, so horrific. It is more horrible than the most horror movie you could ever imagine. So instead, I will tell you a story. And I ask you to use your own imagination to put yourself into the helpless position of these defenseless sentient animals. So here we go. The life of a dairy cow. She didn't collapse in a field of green. She didn't drift to sleep under a tree. She didn't grow old or slow or gentle with time. She died here, on bare ground, alone, discarded like something that stopped being useful. This is what happens to cows whose bodies give everything humans demand, until there's nothing left to give. Years of milking until her bones ached. Years of pregnancies she never chose. Years of standing on concrete floors that crushed her joints. Years of being treated like a machine instead of a mother, not a living being, not a someone. And when her body finally whispered, "I can't," no one held her, no one comforted her, no one told her she mattered. She just fell. And the world walked away and moved on. Look at her face, eyes half open, as if still waiting for someone to notice that she was hurting, that she was frightened, that she was here. But help never came. In the dairy industry, cows like her are called downers, a word that hides the truth. She was exhausted, broken, suffering, and abandoned in her final moments. She had a name once. She had a mother once. She had a heartbeat that hoped for gentleness. And this is how her story ended. Not only with the cruelty you can see etched into her body, with wounds that tell their own truth, with suffering no one stopped, with a body pushed past its limits, but also with the cruelty you cannot see, the quiet silencing of a life the world never believed was worth noticing. But you have the power to stop these crimes, and there is another way. You can stop these evil farmers by not buying their products anymore. And when you stop consuming these hellish products, not only are you making a difference for the animals, but you're also standing up for your own health and wellness. And soon you will see dramatic improvements in your health and wellness. So let's talk about the solutions and alternatives. Have you ever considered plant-based options? Plant-based milk is cruelty-free, cholesterol-free, and environmentally sustainable. It offers comparable nutrients without the hormones, without the antibiotics or animal suffering. With endless flavor options, it's a kinder, healthier choice for people and the planet. Why choose harm if plants provide all we need? Plant-based milk eliminates animal suffering and has lots of environmental benefits. They use 2/3 less water. They have a lower carbon footprint than dairy milk because dairy greenhouse gas emissions are huge. Also, plant-based protein protect women from breast cancer and men from prostate cancer. And they help women have stronger bones because they absorb more calcium. So in the debate over dairy milk versus plant-based milk, the winner is clear. Go plant-based. And if you want to know more, I made videos about vegan protein sources, plant protein versus animal protein, and healthy vegan swaps. I will put the links to those videos in the description below. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you learned a lot. Please like and subscribe and become part of our vegan tribe. Be blessed and take very good care of yourself. And until I see you in the next video, bye for now.